What's up, guys, and welcome back to another Dota 2 commentary. This is a match between Rattlesnake International, formerly known as Kaipi, and Virtus.Pro, the Russian sensation that is sweeping, well, not really the nation. But anyways, this is a match from StarLadder once again, and I love this tournament because it always shows some good Dota with some good quality prize pools that always manage to increase, and I really respect VII and all the people who help make it a possibility, pretty much like 4 seasons every year, and the prize pool keeps going up and up, so nothing but good things to say about StarLadder. But Rattlesnake International, they have been slipping recently in the StarLadder series. They're now 4th, and meanwhile VP are amongst the bottom teams, but I don't know if they've necessarily gotten together to practice. They're just playing 2 games with their roster, and because this is pretty much an entirely new roster, I mean, NS has not played with any of these guys before. Neither has God, neither has Resolution, neither has Lily of Heaven, neither has Go Black, so you can imagine that this roster will take a bit of time to get used to. And keep in mind, Virtus.Pro last year, it took them around 2 months before they can actually be considered competitive, and actually it was around the time of DreamHack Winter where they finally started being competitive, and that was a roster that NS built from the ground up. So even though this roster is not doing so well at the moment, I have full confidence with the veteran experience as well as the rising talent of Resolution and God that this roster will turn around and do many great things. You know, Rattlesnake International, aka Kaipi, what more can be said? Definitely a fan favorite team at the moment. Got invited to the MLG tournament in Columbus, so they've got to be feeling pretty happy. They're going to go to China in December, probably going to qualify for the StarLadder Land Finals unless they manage to lose out, or maybe even if they lose more than they win in the next coming days, then they might not be able to go to StarLadder, but they've got to be feeling pretty good. But for people like Envy and Sing Sing, you know that they're never going to be happy unless they win every single tournament they participate in.
Team pick.
So this is going to be an interesting draft. I know that Rattlesnake International places a very high priority on Troll Warlord, and you can see they picked him up in the first choice. And Troll is an interesting hero who's either always perma-picked and perma-banned within the first opening phases, or he's just not picked up whatsoever. Personally, I think Troll is very strong, but he might be a tad overrated because if you don't win the mid-game with Troll, he loses so much of his effectiveness since he is a single target DPS, and he can potentially get kited, especially in the melee form, and Troll Warlords don't usually build from mobility like Life Stealers do. So heroes like Weaver, and even Naga, who's pretty tanky with her higher armor value, will give Troll a bit of a difficult time. So I'm not too sure if Troll as an opening choice is a strong choice, but Troll as a semi-carry to mid-game carry is amongst the best in the game. Do not deny that, and Troll will always do well against Life Stealer, since Life Stealer always has to be in your face, and of course Troll thrives on people being in his face. So, looks like Virtus.Pro going to secure the mid, they're going to get Puck. Virtus.Pro potentially could go on the aggressive, but I think they're most likely going to play an offlane Weaver because having 2 melee heroes in the aggressive Tron position against a defensive jungling Enchantress probably wouldn't be the best option for Virtus.Pro. And Rattlesnake International actually snatched up the Spirit Breaker. So I'm not too sure actually what to make of this because I know some teams like to run Spirit Breaker in the offlane, and of course some teams like Liquid used to run Spirit Breaker as a 5-role support. Now, if I had to guess, I think this would be an offlane Spirit Breaker where you just charge and try to help win the other lanes, and a mid-solo clock, since I know that Sing Sing has played mid-solo clock quite a number of times in the past. But this seems very all-in on the mid-game for me because with an offlane Spirit Breaker, you won't have a tendency to farm up, and Troll, of course, wants to win the mid-game when he's at his peak. Meanwhile, heroes like Weaver and Life Stealer, well, Weaver especially, will only get stronger and stronger as this game goes on. So, not too sure how to feel about the Spirit Breaker. It really does depend on how he lanes it, but I guess we're going to find out very shortly as Virtus.Pro going to bet out the Gyrocopter. Interesting decision. Maybe they think that Troll Warlord would go mid, and these 2 heroes would be played as support, and Clock would go in the offlane position. But I don't think Kaipi would have picked up Gyrocopter in this situation. So right now Virtus.Pro probably going to run a defensive challenge like I previously mentioned, probably put Weaver in the offlane. And the question is, do Rattlesnake International themselves want to run an aggressive challenge if they put Spirit Breaker in a 1v1 matchup in the solo safe lane position for their team? And Enchantress is one of the best aggressive Charlie junglers, but I don't know how much effect she can have against heroes like Naga's Tyrant, who can keep her restricted in position, and heroes like Lifestealer, who can rage out of a lot of situations. This Rattlesnake International going to pick up the Storm Spirit. So this is going to be a mid-solo Storm, an off-lane Clock, and a support duo, Spirit Breaker and Enchantress. So I guess Rattlesnake International maybe realized they were going a bit too all in the mid-game and decided to get themselves a strong mid, or maybe they just didn't feel comfortable with Clockwork being a mid-hero that can counter Puck. But in any case, it will be interesting to see how much farm the Spirit Breaker will get in a support capacity. And Spirit Breaker doesn't necessarily need too many levels, since he has the highest effective HP at level 1 by far of any hero in the game. He has a ridiculous amount of base HP and a nice base armor value, so he can tank a lot of damage. Still, since he's a single target DPS hero, you do want to get him some levels, and I don't know how many levels he'll get as a defensive transport. The good thing is that Rattlesnake International have a jungler in the form of Enchantress, and then Spirit Breaker can get solo experience from pulls and even dual jungle if we choose to do so. But Virtus.Pro gonna pick up Lion, and NS is one of those guys who, once he likes to support, he really likes to use them. And Lion is often a hero that Virtus.Pro likes to use. Disruptor is another hero that Virtus.Pro particularly likes to use. But it's going to be interesting to see how Lion will be utilized in this game. Having a Hex against his Storm Spirit before he activates BKB or after BKB ends is going to be invaluable. And the mana drain against heroes like Storm, well, not really Storm since he's always going to be moving, but having that nice stun, having a good bit of burst damage to burst down heroes like Enchantress and even Troll before he gets to BKB is going to be useful. But Lion does have a tendency to be food, and I can't... All of these Rattlesnake International heroes can easily kill off a Lion by themselves because they have a lot of ways to bypass Lion's disables if Lion is not quick on the reaction. So I personally don't really know what to make of this Lion pick. I just know that once NS likes to support, he likes to play him over and over again. Keep in mind, Virtus.Pro were pretty much the only teams to run Disruptor in the International 3, and they ran to reasonable success. I mean, even though Virtus.Pro finished, well, tied for last, they still managed to run Virtus.Pro or Disruptor with a reasonable amount of success, as it's actually going to be Sing Sing playing the mid-solo Troll, and Envy is playing the safe lane Storm, and I should have probably recognized this because Envy these days on Storm Spirit, he likes to get a bit of mana into increasing items, whether it be Orchid or BKB, and then goes for carry items like AC and things of that nature. And this does sort of suit the current meta of favoring very, very mobile carries. But Storm Spirit, even though he does have a tendency to get very mobile, and though he does benefit quite a bit from safe lane farm, I don't know how well he can cope in the late game against the likes of Weaver and Lifestealer, although Lifestealer might be a different issue since Lifestealer theoretically should never catch up to the Storm Spirit. So introducing the players and teams on the side of Virtus.Pro, we're going to have Resolution playing the mid-solo Puck, Light of Heaven's playing the Lifestealer, God's playing the Weaver, Golblack is playing the Nagasar, and NS is playing the Lion. So that means Virtus.Pro are going to run an aggressive Charlie with... well, I'm not too sure. They might put Weaver in the aggressive Charlie. No, it's going to be a safe lane Weaver who's pulled quite a bit of extra regeneration by Golblack. Me on the side of Rattlesnake International, aka Kaipi. We're going to have Storm Spirit handled by Eternal Envy, Asaka Taiga. I don't know how to say that, some Ugu anime shit. I don't know. Although I do have to commend Envy. Unlike Luminous, he actually listens to my music recommendations, and he's a fan of Infected Mushrooms, so I respect that. Palai playing the Spirit Breaker. Sing Sing is playing the mid-solo Troll Lord. AUI 2000 is playing the Enchantress, and Bone 7 is playing the Clockwork. Now, Bone 7 has been getting a lot of praise these days, rightfully so, since his Darkseer and Barret have been absolutely phenomenal, but Clockwork is one of those heroes who can't really have those flashy impacts unless he gets off to a ridiculously good start, unlike a hero like Barret or Darkseer who can always contribute in some way. So it's going to be interesting to see how Bone 7 contributes with this offlane Clockwork, but I guess as a solo Clockwork he'll have a bit more of an easy time. You know, AUI is going to do some offensive jungling, maybe recognizing against the Naga and Lion, who have a lot of disables between them, that the defensive jungling will not be very safe, but now NS is going to take a lot of initial burst damage, but keep in mind Storm Spirit being very immobile at level 1, just simply not going to be enough as the Sentry Ward one hit away. Storm Spirit, did he actually try to deny the Sentry Ward? I think he might have had some lag, as, well, that's a bit annoying for Virtus.Pro to have their Sentry Ward denied, but I don't know if this sentry ward actually blocks out the creep camp as well for Rattlesnake. I gotta assume it doesn't, because why else would they place the ward there then? So, pulling down the last hits, you can see Sing Sing 4 and 4. Again, you saw this mid lane matchup in the last Troll World game I played as, well, NS resumed, and, well, Envy did say ready, so you can't really blame Virtus.Pro for unpausing. So, no bad manners, although Virtus.Pro have been getting a bit of a bad reputation, but again, there's very few teams like Rattlesnake International who have well, they have bad manners themselves, and these teams have a bit of bad blood going between them recently, since in a matchup, I think a week ago, in a We Played Dota 2 match, Virtus, in a best of 2, Rattlesnake International supposedly had a lot of pauses, which delayed Virtus.Pro's match and starter to a significant degree, and there was some massive flaming going on between Light of Heaven and Envy, and, well, I gotta assume that these two teams do not have good blood up between them, but I mean, Virtus.Pro, right now, they're not doing well at starter, and Rattlesnake International are doing well, and Rattlesnake International did beat Virtus.Pro the last time I played them, so I've got to be assuming that they're going to be a bit better. Now, I don't think Virtus.Pro can actually get the kill. They only have 1 point Riptide. They don't even have Ensnare. They definitely won't be able to get the kill. But they are going to annoy Envy, and having a safe lane Storm Spirit usually means you want to get some semblance of farm, since Storm Spirit wants to hit that level 6 ASAP. And even though Envy is a farmer these days rather than a ganker with the Storm Spirit, he still wants to be able to enable ganks, especially on heroes like Weaver, who's otherwise very difficult to lock down unless Storm Spirit as well Spirit Breaker are devoted to gank them, and heroes like Puck, who again are very difficult to lock down. So, just checking out some more farm Enchantress, level 1. Just gonna fast forward since Envy did reconnect. Mouse model, Razor. Let's see if Light of Heaven pimps out some other things. Looks like Envy is pimping out the sponsors. I don't know if Rattlesnake and the organization Rattlesnake is sponsored by Razor, but actually Envy is taking a lot of damage, and Storm Spirit, not with the highest space movement speed, would have to back out. So Storm Spirit already forced to burn a salve, gonna go for that Ring of Basilius, and right now Leicester is just having a grand old time free farming it up on that top lane position. Even though Clockwork is getting a lot of farm himself, as Bone 7 managed to get the cogs off onto God, and God actually does not have enough mana to Shikuchi out of there. Even if he pops a stick, he will pop the stick. Can he actually escape? He will, just barely, as the Troll Summoner trying to get in position. Will he be able to get in range? He does, and this will be the end of God. One more hit will spell his doom. It is going to be First Blood. The salve just a bit too late. Good positioning by the Troll Summoner, but I guess Light of Heaven, or God, made his path a little bit too predictable as a result. But that is going to be a very big blessing for Rattlesnake, since I was going to say that given a Weaver with equal farm as a Clockwork, you got to be favoring the Weaver a lot more as the game goes on, since Clockwork does reach its effectiveness at the mid game, unless you're a Bulba Clock where you're always effective. Paladin, only one, has not picked up a single point of experience, and even though Spirit Breaker, again, does not need levels too much in the early going because he is very naturally tanky, he does want to have levels. Like, he doesn't want to be completely useless once the 10-minute mark has passed, so it looks like he's going to just farm these neutrals, and I don't think that aura creep, yeah, it won't get pulled fast enough by these top lane creeps, so a little bit of time being wasted, although Storm Spirit is definitely benefiting from the solo lane experience. Golback, his movement was spot out by this Observer Ward, so that means Sing Sing will be a-okay. Sing Sing controlling the mid lane very hard, and this seems to be a recurring theme between Trolls and Pucks, because Troll, of course, has higher base damage in melee form, and has higher HP as well as higher move speed, and if he switches to range form, then he'll have that nice bit of attack animation, but also Whirling Axes can just be spammed over and over again with the bottle, and there's really not too much Puck can do to contest it. AUI just farming up. Haven't really been watching AUI in the jungle role recently, even though he has been making the change. I'm going to be interested to see if he tries to farm a bit more, since he was formerly a carry player, or if he's more active in the jungle path. But he does have a smoke seat, going to be very close to finishing the Arcane Boots, should he decide to rush that. So it's going to be interesting to see what sort of impact AUI has. He is going to switch to the jungles now that he sees the Virtus.Pro supports rotate themselves through, and now Light of Heaven has a sufficient level of farm that he can actually sort of withstand a gank for a reasonable amount of time, and could potentially go into the jungle if he really wants to get his farm back online. Invisibility rune was snagged. I don't know if Bone 7 did spot out what kind of rune it was. I guess he's got to assume it was an invisibility rune since NS has not yet shown himself, as meanwhile Light of Heaven could potentially be in a bit of trouble, but Lifestealer having very high move speed means that he'll be able to skate on away from that Storm Spirit without breaking hardly a sweat. And of course, if push come to shove, he did have that rage up, so he could potentially escape from, well, a lot of burst damage. One thing that's good about Rattlesnake International lineup is that, aside from Storm Spirit, pretty much everybody has a way to sort of get through rage from Lifestealer. They have the Bash, they have the Enchantress Nets, they have the Clockwork Cogs, which no longer burn through magical immunity but can still annoy Lifestealer since he's a melee carry, and they have the Troll Bash as well, in conjunction with the Spirit Breaker Bash. So, a good anti-Lifestealer lineup this is, but again, as this game goes on, I do have to favor Virtus.Pro's lineup a little bit more since Storm Spirit is a safe win carry. Even though he is a natural X carrier, I have my doubts, even though Envy has made it work time and time again in the past. It's because I personally have not watched those games. I just sort of read about them. I don't know how safe lane firing Storm Spirit can outcarry the likes of a Weaver, especially a Weaver with Lion backup if the game should go late. But we'll have to see if this game does progress into the late game, how that actually will go, as Clockwork will spot Go Back finally able to hit level 2, as he's going to get some pulls going. And they're going to need this Naga Siren because that counter initiation, considering Rattlesnake's many forms of initiation, is going to be absolutely invaluable for these mid-game engagements. Puck, still having a bit of a difficult time in the mid lane, has not even secured himself a Null Talisman. I'm not too sure what this is. It's just going to be a magical one, so it looks like he won't even upgrade the Null, as he's probably going to finish Shreds or just straight up rush to the Dagger. I gotta assume he might consider rushing the Dagger, especially as Storm Spirit is getting dangerous at close to level 6, and Shreds can only help you so much against Storm Spirit gank. But actually, reconsidering that, I think Shreds will be the better choice, since if he rushes the Dagger, he won't have a sufficient level of phase to actually dodge the counter damage follow-up, so that Dagger can go off of cooldown. So this should be a Treads build for the Puck. Envy decided to get Tranquil Boots and a Soul Ring. This is the first time I've ever seen this type of Storm Spirit build, so you've got to forgive me if I'm not really understanding the logic. Soul Ring, of course, is very useful since it gives you a lot of extra mana regeneration, and it does synergize quite well with the Tranquil Boots, but I've got to assume Envy will disassemble these Tranquil Boots and go for Treads. It's going to be a mid-lane engage in Sing Sing. Never stood a chance in hell. We'll just see how that engage broke up. Dream Coil into net into death for Sing Sing. As, well, Virtus.Pro, they're probably saying easiest gank of their lives. And you can't really blame them since that was super easy. And actually, that had the added benefit of having Pilotite teleport, wasting a bit of gold. But Pilotite won't be too hard-pressed to regret spending that gold, since you'll actually be able to pick up a nice chunk of the experience as a result. As actually it looks like, oh, the phase dodged the charge, so good timing by Resolution. And Resolution's Puck, ridiculously powerful. God just having his way with Clockwork on the bottom lane. 14-2 versus 44-15 despite that early death. God is just showing why, in terms of raw talent and sometimes mechanics, he is up there with the best in the world. His decision making, not always the best, but in terms of just mechanics as well as talent, it's hard to deny God's presence, as he is just handling this Clockwork, as well as he should, I mean, but I wouldn't think he should be tripling up the Clockwork in terms of CS, especially since, well, to be fair, God was given extra regeneration, so gotta have to excuse Bone 7 on that one. Extra regeneration Weaver versus a non-extra regeneration Clockwork. I guess you have to favor Weaver in that situation a bit more heavily, even though Weaver should naturally win the lane. I'm a bit worried for Virtus.Pro. Again, Lion as support does want a lot of experience, so he can have not that ridiculous cooldown on Finger of Death, 160 seconds. And he wants to have a big enough mana pool where he can actually get that 4-second hex off and get a nice amount of impale damage. He wants to hit level 11, but at this rate, this Lion hitting level 11 will probably happen around the 25-30 minute mark, and that might be a generous estimate at that. But still, I mean, Virtus.Pro, I do have to favor them in the late game, even if their supports are not getting too much done, as Naga Siren herself is only level 3, and we still have yet to see AUI's presence on the map other than the gank, as Sing Sing is going to come in with the Dream Coil once again, trying to do whatever he can, as the Waning Rift is going to be a bit off the mark, and the tank ability of Sing Sing toggling his strength thing is going to be a bit too much as well. Light of Heaven took a little bit too much damage as Storm Spirit is here. Storm Spirit will be able to successfully pick up the kill. Bone 7 does manage to get the hook shot in, as Weaver will pick up the kill on Enchantress, trying to run the heck out of there. Will he be able to time a Soy to safety? He just barely does, as it's going to be a 2-for-1 exchange. But Rattlesnake did teleport in most of their heroes, and, well, Virtus.Pro lost their life stealer. So you gotta favor Rattlesnake International in the end, and keep in mind, Virtus.Pro did devote a lot of resources into the initial attempt on engaging him on Sing Sing, and Sing Sing lived. Meow God just gonna go back to farming. We'll have to see if he's gonna go for the Lincoln Sphere Rush. I gotta assume he will, because that means he'll never be able to be charged, or if he is charged, then he'll know that something's up, because, well, then there's probably other heroes able to just jump upon him after the Lincoln Sphere has been dispelled. One of the annoying things about Spirit Breaker versus Lever is that you will never be able to get a charge off, and any charge you do pop off will be super obvious of a gank setup. Still, a good thing for Rattlesnake International is that they're leaving quite a bit in terms of the experience graph, but the fact of the matter is their movement has just not been very strong. AUI level 7, and Enchantress does hit like a beast at this point. But it's not like Enchantress wants to particularly go to the late game. She does shine in the early to mid portions of the game where she can do a lot of damage with creeps as well as impetus. And I don't know how much stock you can put into free farming Enchantress. Keep in mind this isn't eHome vs DTS 2010 edition where Enchantress was just a monster. Even though pretty much the skills are exactly the same. As Golwak, oh, that's smoke to see, as the Virtus.Pro will be caught out. This is going to be the end of Golwak, as Paladin, now level 6, will be able to get a very easy kill on Golwak, and Golwak still level 3. This does not bode well for the mid-game, since this counter initiation won't be online, as Meow Dream Coil going to get 2 heroes. If they manage to get a couple kills as a response, they will be able to pick up AUI. Bone 7 actually will be able to hookshot to safety on the back of Pilot Eye. So it's going to be a level 7 Enchantress for a level 3 Naga. You've got to favor Virtus.Pro every day of the week in that exchange. So, good counter rebuttal gank by Virtus.Pro. And Lion was able to hit level 5 on the top lane as a result, while Storm Spirit is just continuing to farm up. And again, Storm Spirit, in my opinion, should be ganking, but free farming Storm Spirit on the safe lane. Again, we'll have to see how effective it will be against Lex Weaver, as the charge going to go on. Nice reactions by NS, will be able to get the stun off before the charge could actually hit off. Nice recognition by NS, recognizing not to panic as Net will go down. Envy does dodge it, as a good usage of that ball ending, but now Envy is completely out of mana aside from a Soul Ring usage, and that means Rattlesnake International will have to back off. You know, God is just continuing to farm, but we'll pick up the ultimate arm for the Lincolns here relatively soon, I have to imagine. And once he gets the Lincolns, he is almost ungankable. And you can see Bone 7 on the Clockwork, he's doing whatever he can. He's level 8, which is definitely not too shabby. But Clockwork's impact in this game is going to be very, very questionable unless he manages to contribute in a big way in the mid-game. Paladai gonna go for, well, since he's not really using this move speed aura to any sort of benefit, doesn't really need to do anything. He's never with this team unless he goes for the gank, so this build, pretty useful. I mean, not leveling up Charge of Darkness is pretty standard these days, since, I mean, what do you really need it for, other than the extra duration of a stun? The extra speed doesn't really necessarily help too much, and maxing Greater Bash, getting that extra bit of damage will be very, very useful after a successful charge, so good build by Bone 7, or Pilot Eye, definitely don't disagree. Standard troll build these days. Looks like his levels have been hurt as a result of this continued pressure, and that has allowed Puck to get himself back into the game. And Puck, with the treads finish, is going to go for the dagger, but the hook just barely off the mark. Pilot Eye won't be able to get the successful engagement off, but Resolution, recognizing that Pilot Eye is just a bit too tanky, does not drop the coil, trying to secure a kill. Enchantress just continue to farm up. Is this Rattlesnake International's game plan to just farm up Enchantress and Starseries? And if that's the case, why don't they pick up, another carry like a gyrocopter? I'm not too sure, as Golbak took a lot of damage, but was able to barely escape. Still not close to level 6, but the fact of the matter is that Golbak has only died once, so it's not like he's feeding away levels or gold. Light of Heaven has suffered as a result of the aggressive challenge being abandoned on the top lane. But Lifestealer, again, is able to do a lot with very little. And you can definitely see that becoming a factor in Virtus.Pro's game plan in the very near future. The first tower was claimed by Rattlesnake International. Stormspear did pick up the last hit, and the question is, what will he decide to rush? Will he go for the Orchid build, or will he go for something else? He is going to go for the Orchid build. You gotta assume that had to be the natural decision, especially against a team with Naga, who can counter-initiate with the Song of Siren against a Weaver before he finishes the Lincoln Sphere, which is not going to be too far away, and against a Lion, whose all of his spells are very powerful. Oh, and of course, Puck. But the worrying thing for Rattlesnake International is that Weaver is just not being contested whatsoever, aside from that very early gank by Enchantress, which was a little bit of luck because God just did not predict the correct path of the Troll Summoner, as the charge will go down. This might spell the end of God, as no, the counter initiation is their Finger of Death, and that was a bait and a half. The smoked up Lion playing his bait to perfection, as Golak is going to take a bit of damage. Will Sing Sing? Oh, he does channel his inner bash chance, and you can see despite the net being thrown out, Golak never stood a chance in hell, so it's going to be a 1-for-1, but a higher level support for a lower level support. I guess it's an even trade, since Naga getting a level 6 will be very useful, and Paladai pretty much has all the levels he can need at this point. But considering the pace of the game, again, I do have to favor Virtus.Pro ever so slightly, as the tower count is completely even. Go out. Ooh, the hookshot is there. Can he time-lapse away? No, the battery assault mini-stun just a bit too much. Oh, the charge of darkness. Or the Nether Strike. What is it called? Yeah, Nether Strike. Went to the time-lapse Weaver, but the Sentry Order was properly placed. So a good gank onto God, as he bought the Lincoln Sphere recipe. He actually would have finished the Lincoln Sphere. I thought he had a bit more gold. Where did all his gold go? Well, I'm a bit confused. Oh, you did buy the Lincoln Sphere recipe, so you would have had the Lincolns should he not have died. So a good timing gank by Rattlesnake, but that's got to be the last time they're going to expect it, because now Weaver will have the Lincoln Sphere online, and you will be rest assured that God won't be cut out again like that anymore. Still, again, Virtus.Pro probably more than content to play this long, sort of patient style game, which is very odd since Virtus.Pro is a very aggressive team by nature, but maybe they're trying to find a good style to play, as, well, what was played earlier was definitely not working, as Sing Sing just continued to farm up 3k gold in the bank. Not too sure what he'll rush. Probably won't be a Blink Dagger like Fnatic rushed it, as the game engagement will go on. The Infestage did not take into Sing Sing, trying to teleport out. Will be able to teleport out to safety, as a bit of an unsuccessful game content, but even with the Infestage, I don't think Sing Sing would have died. As now Sing Sing 3.8k, he's gonna rush the BKB, I've got to assume. No, he's gonna pick up the Yasha. I don't know why he waited so long to pick up the Yasha. The extra bit of move speed and the extra bit of attack speed would definitely been very useful, but looks like he was just debating for quite a long time what he actually wanted to get. But he's gonna go for Yasha, probably go back into Manta. Although I still think SNY on Troll is good, but that could just be me being stupid. Resolution has the dagger, Light of Heaven, finish the drums, gonna go for the Armlet most likely, even though Armlet toggle has been nerfed, which I completely disagree with, since now I don't think Armlet will ever be used on anybody besides Lifestealer, as there will be engagement. Bone 7 dropping off a lot of damage onto Golbak, who does not yet level 6. This lack of level 6 on Naga really coming back to bite Virtus.Pro, but it's going to be a 1-for-1 exchange offlane for our support. Got our favorite Virtus.Pro ever so slightly. But all the while, Storm Spirit is pressuring the top lane and is going to have the Orchid finished. This will be a successful tower being taken by Virtus.Pro at the very least, since now the tower count is even once again.
Radiant's top tower
As
is
they
under
are going to engage upon Storm Spirit. Will they be able to get enough damage? Oh, just barely. Clever play by Envy, recognizing that Puck did not have enough mana to cast Winning Rift, but just a little bit too much damage to spell at the end. And Spirit Breaker actually died to the Weaver. So things suddenly not going very well for Rattlesnake International. They will be able to pick up a tower in the bottom lane due to Sing Sing's presence. But getting your safe lane free farming Storm Spirit killed, definitely not something that Kaipi or Rattlesnake International are looking forward to. Will the net be there? Oh, just a little bit too long of a projectile time, as well as a casting point, as Sing Sing going to teleport out. A lot of gold being expended by Rattlesnake. Not only did they lose 2 heroes, they just spent 2 teleports to get themselves out of there, and that's going to allow Virtus.Pro to get themselves right back in the game, as even though Rattlesnake International have the gold lead, it's going to be ever so slightly climbing back towards equilibrium as this game progresses. And this is the point where you gotta make something happen with the Storm. You can't just keep farming up a safe lane Storm Spirit. You have to look for engagement with the Orchid finished. But with the Lingotspear finished, I don't know how much of an engagement this will actually help, or how much this will actually help Rattlesnake International concoct engagement. You know, Sing Sing is going to go straight into the Manta, trying to get a bash off onto God. Won't be nearly successful, as there will be engagement onto NS. NS going to get Orchided up. Is there enough damage to burst down NS? There, we wanted up just a little bit too much damage for NS to get away. You know, Envy trying to desperately escape. Blade of Heaven is there, but the blink forward by Puck, a Lion for a safe lane farming Storm Spirit kill. Something that Virtus.Pro will take any day of the week, and now Bone 7, Blade Mail just simply won't be enough. Resolution picked up a killing spree, and suddenly things are not looking nearly as good for the squad of Rattlesnake International. You know, go back, finally hits level 6, 20 minutes in the game. Oh my god. As they will be able to get engaged in a premature Song of Siren, as Resolution is the only one there trying to get in position for a Waning Rift and Fest Bomb. As here comes the damage, they're going to immediately kill off Pilot Eye. And now Sing Sing trying to get the bashes off. He is definitely going to be the next one to fall, as Sing Sing's going to get X'd up. Rattlesnake International just crumbling. Absolutely making some weird decisions, as they are just getting outplayed at this point and outmaneuvered by Virtus.Pro. And hopefully this is a good sign that Virtus.Pro might be getting the communication problem solved. I mean, they are all Russian, so I gotta assume that it's not the Russian language. It's just the never played with these guys in my life before aspect. Although Edison God did play before on Dare, but they did not part on the most amicable terms. And again, I'm just... what is this Enchantress pick designed to do? And what the hell is Envy doing? Oh, got the silence off onto Lion. Alright, let's just see that again. So there is a Radiant Observer Ward. Okay. And oh, Envy just a little bit too late on the reactions. Such is the price of playing with a bit of lag, as Storm Spirit just having no impact in this game. Really not doing anything. And if you want to safe lane up a farmer, should have picked Gyro. Or Phantom Lancer, or anybody else besides Storm Spirit, who is a very much momentum-based hero. You know, Weaver gonna go straight into that Desolator. Pilot Eye has been kept down quite a bit, now has max point to all his other abilities, and it might be time for Rattlesnake to consider sneaking a Roshan, as they are starting to get into the bit of a, well, we're losing all our momentum part of the game. So they might need to get a chance to regain it, as Lion now has max point to all his disables, and is now pretty tanky as well. And once Lion hits that low, and that Finger of Death cooldown is just almost cut in half, and it just does so much damage in engagement that even a tanky hero like Spirit Breaker or Clock won't be able to withstand too much of that Finger of Death damage. Troll, finish the Manta. Probably going to go for BKB next, especially against the Lion as well as a Puck. BKB is definitely going to be the best option. Storm Spirit has not been able to farm up whatsoever since getting that Orchid, since he's just been suiciding. Enchantress going to rush that Aghanims. And Clockwork has had the blame for quite a bit. Gonna go for the Armor Clock, something very standard by Bone 7 these days, as they're gonna get a gank off on the Pilot Eye. Can't get the charge off because, well, he's silence. Can't get the TP off, and to add insult to injury, he just spent 135 gold that he won't get back. So right now, Rattlesnake International losing all of their momentum completely, and I wouldn't be too surprised to see, yep, Gold Graph favoring Virtus.Pro, Experience Graph starting to favor Virtus.Pro more and more. And God is just happily free farming his way. We'll have the Desolator finish in about 300 gold.
Tower is under attack.
And he will be able to pick it up after this tower falls. Light of Heaven now with the armlet. Probably go for either Bash or AC next. And considering this game, I think AC would be pretty good against Troll. And
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
I don't know. Maybe Basher to try to get the first hit bash on the Troll before Troll can bash him. Both items definitely not going to be too shabby, as Virtus.Pro starting to group up. Puck does have initiation, gonna go for the Hex, still quite a ways away. Go Black, well, he is just not having a good time, but he's finally hit level 8. He was level 6 at 20 minutes in the game, but has just managed to climb 2 levels on the back of Virtus.Pro's successful ganks. As meanwhile, the Desolator has been fished by the Weaver. Sing Sing trying to get into position. Will be able to dispel all of Go Black's illusions, as the hook shot, well, it just did not latch. He thought that was the real Naga, but he just wasn't lucky. The Draw Control Summoner going to catch on Goldback as the Charge of Darkness will go down. Here comes Initiation, but a beautiful silence by Resolution as well as a Dream Call, as Weaver does pick up the first kill on Starseries. Will Starseries buy back? Can he actually buy back? As Song of Siren will go down, they're going to focus all their attention on the Pilot Eye. Well, Spirit Breaker, we hardly knew ye. As Storm Spirit, he did not have enough money to buy back, and just another cluster initiation, and that's the power of Naga Siren against such an initiation-based team like Rattlesnake International. And keep in mind, Virtus.Pro first picked Naga Siren, even though you didn't see it. Virtus.Pro did first pick the Naga Siren, and Rattlesnake picked up an initiation-based team. Not too sure what they were thinking, but right now it's coming back to bite him in the ass. And actually, that was the first time Naga Siren used ultimate, and by the time the ultimate cools down, it might even be a level 2 ultimate. So, things definitely not going well for Rattlesnake at this point in time. And you can see the problem with Troll. He's going to get kited. And I guess that's why they pair Troll with Storm Spirit, so that Troll won't be kited, since Storm Spirit can just keep people locked in place. But Envy going for a very weird build, Tranquil's Soul Ring Bottle Orchid. Delayed his Orchid, even with safe lane V-Farm, until around the 17, 18, 20 minute mark. And by that point, well, Weaver pretty much finished Lincoln's. Puck had Dagger for about 10 years. So, even though Envy's items make sense, the timing and the delay of the items don't really make sense, at least not in my eyes. Meanwhile, again, Enchantress not doing anything. What was the point of this Enchantress pick? Immediately, it's pretty hard to gank heroes like Weaver, as there is going to be engaged, and they're going to drop the coil onto AUI, and AUI, well, trying to dance away. At the very least, he expanded the coil, but he is going to give a big dragon, as well as his own death, as Light of Heaven, now 3.2k on the bank, could finish a straight-up basher, should he choose to get that. Instead, he's going to pick up a Demon Edge. So he's going to go straight into MKB to counteract some of the mischance of Troll, and perhaps a later Butterfly pick. Or he could go for Daedalus, I don't know. Meanwhile, Envy will be able to claim this tier 2 without too much of a problem, but Virtus.Pro will get a tier 2 themselves as a result, and Envy won't be able to stick around to get the last hit on this tower, as Resolution is going to get very close to finishing the Hex. God has the almost as an MKB himself, as this is just going to be a lot of physical damage in Rattlesnake International. Well, they definitely don't want to pick up Ghost Scepter, since Troll wants to be auto-attacking, Enchantress wants to be attacking. Well, even though he has Impetus, says, ooh, Resolution going to counter-initiate, but I don't know if Clock is the best idea to counter-initiate upon. This might be a bit of an overextension, as Light of Heaven trying to do whatever he can. One more hit will spell the end of AUI. Weaver does pick it up with the Desolator. So a good sort of counter-initiation, although that was very, very messy to say the least. But at the very least, Enchantress was able to finish the Aghanims. Emil NS in the background smoked up level 11, and you can see put couple points in those stats so you can have more mana and more HP to actually do stuff in the teamfight rather than just being one and done with the finger. You know, Golak, still level 9, has not been able to find that level end, but now has the ultimate back online, and that means it'll be extraordinarily difficult for Rattlesnake International to actually get a successful initiation off. And right now, Virtus.Pro are just cleaning through Rattlesnake's buildings like a hot knife through butter. Resolution now has the Hex. Sleight of Heaven gonna be able to finish the MKB relatively soon. And meanwhile, Rattlesnake International, well, Sing Sing, he's been firing, but again, there's only so much a troll can do. Although if he managed to get a couple bashes off onto Light of Heaven, he could do more than he's expected to do. And now I kind of see what Rattlesnake's game plan was, even though it took me freaking 40 minutes to actually realize this. They want to get ahead with their strong mid-game lap and use Storm Spirit to pressure down everybody with the Orchid, use Enchantress high levels, and use Clockwork in a 1v1 situation where you get more levels than before to actually just bulldoze their way through. But Virtus.Pro, I think Rattlesnake International just too passive on how they execute the game plan. But Rattlesnake International will be able to respond by playing the Roshan, and that's definitely going to make a very slight dent in Virtus.Pro's massive advantage in Storm Spirit. Well, he's going to be thanking his lucky stars that he actually managed to get his hands on this Aegis of the Immortal. Now, Sing Sing, you know, he probably recognizes that he is going to be the target of a couple MKBs. Does need that butterfly still, because it gives him a lot of extra agility and can also help him against, well, these two heroes are going to be the physical damage output regardless, but having that extra bit of damage attack speed for that bash is still going to be pretty useful. But that means you want a BKB, and no carries having BKB while Scythe of Vice is in play and a level 11 line's in play. Is just going to be disastrous for Rattlesnake if they decide to go for a team fight. So right now, Rattlesnake International, they can't actually fight. They need BKBs. And the question is, do Virtus.Pro want to go up against an Aegis, even though they do have the stronger firepower, and try to brute force their way through with their hexes, or will they respect the Aegis and allow Rattlesnake to get themselves back in the game through purchasing BKBs? It seems like Virtus.Pro not going to let that happen. They're going to spot out Bone 7. The Hex is going to go down to Clockwork. Well, you did. As can he get the hookshot off? No. Pilot Eye gonna get the initiation as he does manage to get a 2% bash. Resolution will die. Doesn't pop the coil. He's actually gonna buy back. Pilot Die taking a lot of damage. Will be the next one to fall as God. Oh, he's taking so much damage from Impetus. One more hit will spell the end. God. One more Shikuchi will allow him to escape to safety as just the weird initiation not gonna be enough. God, can he escape? No, he cannot. Sing Sing picks up a triple kill. And just the clustered area and the fact that Naga Siren was not able to do anything. Golbak, where were you? Did not lose any HP and only expend a bit of mana. I think Virtus.Pro were probably trying to rely on the Naga Siren initiation, counter initiation, get themselves out of trouble, but without the Naga Siren in there, Rattlesnake's counter initiation was just too much, and Rattlesnake gotta be feeling very pleased. They did lose the Aegis on the Storm, but they got a couple kills. They killed the two main carries, and they killed the Puck, who also bought back. Suddenly things are looking a little bit brighter for Rattlesnake International, although they're still in a bit of a deficit. Storm Spirit now 4k gold in the bank. I'd be shocked and appalled if he didn't go for a BKB. The very least for Virtus.Pro, they will have the level 11 Naga Siren ultimate, and now Naga does have the mech finished. The question is, will he have enough med to actually use all of his abilities and the mech? I guess we'll find out. Lion actually finished a 4-staff, and meanwhile, Out of Heaven, he didn't buy back, has now finished the MKB. God has the MKB as well. Puck picks up a gem, and Virtus.Pro, they're looking to apply the chokehold. But now, Envy, 4.3k gold in the bank. Not too sure why he hasn't bought anything. Is he really not going to buy a BKB? Pilot Eye. Sing Sing finished Butterfly, allows him to get a lot of extra attack speed. And the annoying thing about Troll is that it does take him 5 attacks before he hits that really key attack point. But with the Butterfly, he can always hope for some immediate bashes right off the bat. And looks like Storm Spirit won't actually go for BK. If he goes for AC, is it AC? It's going to be a Bloodstone. I don't know what the hell this is supposed to be. If you've ever seen Blitz play, he is a firm advocate of Bloodstone being picked up very early on, because then you'll have enough time to get a lot of charges, and as the game goes on, it's less likely that Storm Spirit can actually survive in a lot of fights unless he has a massive advantage, and the Bloodstone's charges will actually tick down. But at this point, a 35-minute well, 34-minute Bloodstone. Without a BKB, how much impact will this actually have? This seems
Dire's top tower is
super
under
ambitious. And this isn't even like a desperation item because Bloodstone doesn't give a Storm Spirit anything aside from mana regeneration, which he's not really using because he's just fighting and these engagements are ending in a matter of seconds. I still think BKB is the much better choice, and I am completely befuddled at why Envy is actually picking Bloodstone up at this stage. I guess he just has some next level pseudo mind games. He is Ii-sama, but even gods must answer to reason. You know, Virtus.Pro, a bit worried about their positioning. They're all clumped up. So that could be a bit of an issue, as Paladin is waiting in the background, has treads, very tanky, as Dire will be able to claim the tier 3 tower without too much of a problem. Here comes the initiation, but now the song is going to go off. NS will be able to side the Orchid, and this is definitely going to be an Envy. Yep, Hex to death. I don't think BKB would have helped him, but God will be able to time-lapse. Troll Warlord will get one kill, as the buyback by Envy was just too good, even though the Dream Coil managed to catch pretty much everybody. And Rattlesnake, the counter initiation was just on point. Virtus.Pro, they tried to initiate with Song and catch Envy out of position, but the counter initiation by Rattlesnake was just too good. I think Golwak has to really hold on to the Song of Siren. Otherwise, this is just not going to be a pretty engaging unless they manage to get a more important target. As Light of Heaven. Oh, he had to infest out of a creep since it was about to die. Well, can't really blame him then. Suddenly Rattlesnake International. This is just team fight after team fight that they've won. Well, 2 team fights in a row now. I think Virtus.Pro still are coming up a bit too heavily, but you definitely have to respect Rattlesnake's damage output. Aghanim's Enchantress doing much more work than I gave credit for, and the buyback got Storm Spirit, even though he was forced to spend a lot of his Bloodstone money, and even though he wasn't able to accumulate any Bloodstone charges, that was definitely worth it, as now he's level 18, and this should be a very quick Aegis relatively soon, once Roshan respawns, which I guess won't be for a while. You know, Sing Sing is just racking up the kills, 3.8k gold in the bag. He's got to go for a BKB since he doesn't have the mobility of Storm Spirit. I'd be shocked and appalled if Sing Sing didn't go for a BKB, even though I just said that about Envy. But in this case, Sing Sing is much more able to be kited, and you gotta assume Virtus.Pro won't make the mistake of carelessly using the Naga Siren ultimate like they have in the past. You know, looks like Bone 7 is going to go for some weird Clockwork build again. Armlet does allow Clockwork to tank up a lot of damage, and it also gives them a nice amount of armor. But I guess he's going to go for a Hex next? I don't think Lincoln's would be very useful on Clockwork when you have a Blade Mail. And it's not like Rattlesnake International have any other natural Hex carries in the very near future. Enchantress picked up a huge bulk of those last engagement's kills and is going to go for seemingly a Shiva's Guard, although this could potentially be an AC pickup as well. And Enchantress definitely benefits quite a bit from the extra attack speed. You know, Virtus.Pro seeming like they're getting a bit impatient, just going to bulldoze their way down again, as Envy, he won't have enough mana. He has to go back and mana regenerate up, but right now Virtus.Pro's push has been slowed down to a significant degree. He's going to finish the Bloodstone right here, right now, and he will have close to full mana when this engagement does finally break off. God just chipping away. Will be able to pick up the range barrier because the hookshot is there. He's going to be able to time out his way to safety. They're going to initiate on the Sing Sing, who is a very huge problem. Sing Sing is going to die. He will buy back, and he's going to get right back into the fight. Bone 7 getting Finger to Death, and that's going to be a launchal as here comes Envy trying to get the engagement off onto God. God, keep in mind, he doesn't have time lapses. Envy's going to take a lot of edge. Envy did suicide himself. Very nicely done, as Golwak is going to be forced to retreat, and another successful gank defense by Rattlesnake International. But keep in mind, Sing Sing was forced to buy back, still killing two of the three main heroes on side of Virtus.Pro. Definitely going to be a fruitful engagement for Rattlesnake International, and right now it seems like it's just too big of an issue for Virtus.Pro to actually crack the high ground against Rattlesnake International, considering the huge initiation advantage that the American/European combo have in the back of their head. Well, what they have. But they didn't get the range barracks, and now Goldgraph, even experience graph, ever so slightly in favor of Rattlesnake National, and you've got to assume that this game is complete even. And now Sing Sing, he's not gonna go for BKB. Why no BKBs against a Lion and a Puck with a Hex? Why? Maybe they think they can kill Lion, or maybe they think after Summon Siren that BKB is useless since Virtus.Pro will just be able to get the Hex advantage. That seems very, very cocky. Or maybe they're just desperate. Maybe they think that if they go for BKB it's too defensive and they have to play more aggressive, but I don't know.
Boom, there it goes.
Interesting decision. Meanwhile, both teams getting position for Rosh, and Virtus.Pro, keep in mind their main carries have died quite a number of times recently, as Weaver's now at 8 and 5. Gonna go for a butterfly himself, trying to avoid the bashes. Light of Heaven has been dying over and over again, since he's always up front in the midst of the action, as the smoke deceit will be used. Can Virtus.Pro get the wraparound? Well, they're going to bypass the Observer Ward, and I don't know if Rattlesnake International necessarily know what's coming, as they could potentially be caught out of position, but Rattlesnake International do have the high ground. They're going to initiate, and who are they going to find? They're going to find Envy, as BKB definitely would not have helped there, unless he has light and quick reaction times. Another follow-up Hex on the AUI. AUI, you're dead, as they're going to try to catch Sing Sing as well. If they can kill Sing Sing, he doesn't have buyback. They're going to get the net off. They're going to get the work going. Light of Heaven, Resolution doing so much damage as Light of Heaven's getting bashed and bashed and smashed. Dreamcoil is forced to be expended, but a great decision-making move by Pilot Eye. Recognizes that the team fight and the mid barracks are lost. Gonna go to work on the top barracks. Will he be able to claim him? No, but he got the tier 2 at the very least. As will Virtus.Pro actually give up their mid lane presence. What a smart play by Pilot Eye, as here comes Bone 7. Actually managed to get the hookshot counter initiation, as now Golbach gonna be in a lot of trouble. The cogs just simply not there in time, as seems like Virtus.Pro will claim the mid barracks. Can they actually get back in time to defend? Resolution will back to defend the top barracks, and I think right now Rattlesnake International will have to retreat. Storm Spirit does get a kill off onto Lion, but now God will be the sole cleanup on the middle barracks, as right now this game got very interesting, but that was a beautiful smoke gank by Virtus.Pro. They didn't know if Rattlesnake International had any, well, Pilot Eye, well, you're dead. They didn't know if Rattlesnake International had any wards here, and I don't know if they necessarily knew that wards in here, but they just ran past, went all the way around rather than just going straight from this direction up the cliff into Rattlesnake's waiting arms. They went all the way around, and even though they had the low ground disadvantage, they still, with a very nicely placed Zord, were able to get the successful gank off. So they surpassed Rattlesnake's huge initiation advantage with the color smoke gank, but now the question is, will it work again? As they're going to get the zip off onto Golbach, who pops the mech very prematurely, much too prematurely, as now, well, Envy, he's going to pay for it. Will he pay for it with his life? One more hit. Yes, he does. Dreamcoil will be there to snag the kill. Storm Spirit's going to buy back, as well as Spirit Breaker, as they're going to kill off Resolution. Keep in mind, Resolution does not have buyback himself, as now Light of Heaven's going to die, and, well, God, he's going to try to man-fight it out. He's not going to go for the gem because Spirit Breaker is here, and he is back in business. Pilot Eye going to get himself netted up. Here comes NS. Will he be able to drop off a finger? The Naga Siren counter initiation is there, as now Virtus.Pro to make a very quick decision. They don't have time lapse. They're going to back off, but Envy still has a lot of damage. Looks like Golbach will sacrifice himself for the good of the team. No, he's going to go right back onto the Weaver, as actually Light of Heaven will buy back himself. NS, he already has Finger of Death, as they're trying to focus down AUI. AUI just so tanky, as NS will be the first one to fall. No, God actually managed to get himself right back into the thick of things with his own back. They desperately want to get access to the rush, as it's going to be a Weaver kill. No, Weaver didn't actually not buy back. He time-lapses himself right back into the fight, as AY is taking so much damage. AY is so tanky. Sing Sing, he won't be able to get back, as Rattlesnake International, what looked like such a beautiful initial engagement, just simply turned the other cheek, and they lost the courier on top of that. God will have access to time-ups relatively soon. Envy, he has vision from the static remnant. The question is, will he be quick enough on the trigger? God, he has an item slot free. Swarm's going to spot out Envy on the high ground, as Envy's going to try to give it up. No! Weaver picks up the Aegis, Lifestar picks up the kill, and Virtus.Pro expended a lot of buybacks in the process, but it was completely worth it. Bought back the Lifestar, bought back the Weaver, and they bought back the Naga, and it was so worth it in the end, as now Virtus.Pro will be able to claim the top barracks. Envy and Troll going to be out of the picture, and that's the primary source of DPS for the side of Rattlesnake International. But all the while, bottom lane's pushing in, and AY being a nuisance. Or actually, that's, I think, Sing Sing's telling the dominator. AY is so tanky with the untouchable level 4 online. Rage is going to dispel a lot of that, as NS is taking so much damage. NS will be the first one to fall. Can actually kill UI. Desolator, last tick will go through. God, keep in mind, it does have HC Immortals. They will counter-initiate once again onto Bone 7. Dreamcoat going to snatch Bone 7, as well as Paladai. Resolution getting bash and smashes Paladai. One hit away, as Virtus.Pro unable to take the top barracks. Such an intense game.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
But you've got to be favoring Virtus.Pro, as Butterfly will be up relatively soon for Weaver. They have an Aegis on their hands, and Envy's item progression has slowed to an absolute halt. And in this last fight, BKB over Bloodstone would have been so much better.
Regeneration.
And I'd have to say the same for Sing Sing. But they're pros. I'm not. I'm a scrub. Just check out the levels. Massive net worth for the Weaver, surpassing Sing Sing's net worth by a full 6k margin. As Rattlesnake getting desperate, gonna get a very aggressive smoke. They're gonna spout out God. The Charge of Darkness is in play, but keep in mind, God has the Aegis counter initiation from the Song of the Siren, and Goldbacks is just saying, let's get out, let's reinforce. And the question is, do Kaipi or Rattlesnake want to get themselves right back into it? They do not. You know, just check out the hero kill stats. Starseries 2, 9, and 12. You know, God 16, 6, and 7. This is just not going Rattlesnake International's way whatsoever. The courier didn't have anything important on it in the last team fight. Meanwhile, NS now with the Ghost Scepter will actually be able to survive so much of the damage coming Rattlesnake's, or coming Virtus.Pro's waves from Rattlesnake, as there's going to be a group up push attempt. Not even bothering to get the creepy Gloom back on the bottom lane, knowing that Rattlesnake can't split push with their current lineup. They're just going to go all in on the top lane, and you've got, I have to assume they're going to be very well successful in doing just that. Do they have any buybacks? That is the question. Do any teams have buybacks? I forgot the buyback hotkey. No, nobody will have buyback. Except for Bone 7. So Rattlesnake International, they've got to know this is their last fight. They're going to try to wrap around with the smoking, but Virtus.Pro might know something's up, as God's going to Shikuchi in. They might get the high ground damage. They're going to start chipping away, and you'll get Resolution. He knows something's up. He's going to get the orb out. He's going to get the Infest Bomb. Lay of Heaven. It's going to take so much damage. The bashes just melting the Lightstore, as Naga Siren, Song of the Siren will be used. Now they're going to focus all their attention on Envy. Envy got absolutely blown the hell up. And meanwhile, it's going to be a couple kills going the way of Rattlesnake International, as Goback will be the next one to fall. NS as well as Leicester did die, but God still holding steady, still has the Aegis, is going to pursue, going to go straight for the throne. Will he be able to get it? You got to assume, I don't know, he might. As Puck is here, Puck is back, and he has a Hex up, as Meow Puck was able to successfully kill off AUI 2000. The Aegis is going to pop. Gem is on the ground. Resolution. Wolf Face Shift does not want to get bashed, and God still has access in time. Bone 7 going to be the next one to fall. Sing Sing is man fighting it out against God, but just too much damage coming from God. Going to time lapse, and that is going to be game, set, match. Virtus.Pro with some nice teamwork and some really clever plays. That smoke gank was a thing of beauty. Managed to overcome Rattlesnake International, and even though Virtus.Pro won't be going to the Starlight Land Finals, this gives me hope as a Virtus.Pro fan that they are starting to come together, as that was some really nicely played Dota. But Rattlesnake International, they fought their hearts out, but I thought their early game was just too weak, and the item choices. Again, I'm not a pro. I've got to say the item choices were absolutely abysmal by Rattlesnake International. I don't know if they're doing some crazy things since they think they're already ahead, but knowing Rattlesnake International takes every game super seriously, if this is the item choices that they decide to make, has got to be questioning it very hard. But very well fought game. Rattlesnake International still, after feeling pretty good about how their recent results have been going, will likely qualify for the Starlight Land Finals. We'll go to MLG Columbus. Can't be too disappointed on how this game went, but hopefully for Virtus.Pro fans, this is the start of a good upswing for the Russians. But thanks for watching, and this will be the last cast for at least 3 or 4 days, as I'll put out some other videos relatively soon. Thanks for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.